What's up, everybody? Welcome back to On the Warpath. Sanchez 405, which if you do, make sure you click that subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notifications anytime there's new content posted. As always, like, comment, share this video out because we talk Washington Commanders all the time. And then who better for us to have talking about the Washington Commanders than the man himself? And I told y'all we were going to have two big foreheads on here. Jax decided to wear the hat. So
That's
we
right.
just got my forehead on here. And we got Scott Jackson here, who does the post-game show for him on the radio and everything. Jax, what you been up to, man?
Not much, man. Just working, trying to stay busy. Looking forward to the fall when it all ramps up. Because got the NFL, I got some big tennis tournaments to cover, and but college basketball. So it's really my favorite time of year. I mean, I love the summer and I love the relaxing, but I also like the workload that the fall and winter bring.
Yeah, it is a hustle. I know y'all do it on a big scale. I do it on a mini scale from what I do, and then we're here in the high school. That's what I love. It's when I see August comes up, all these high school kids. I actually got to see one of my high school kids get drafted out here.
Awesome.
James Mitchell from the Detroit Lions, Big Stone Gap, Virginia product. So good seeing them grow up and go. But we will play them this year. That's the fun part about it.
Week 2.
Week 2, we travel up there and we take a look at the schedule, and we'll just start off. We'll go month by month, kind of look at it.
Sure.
And the jumbling of the schedule right now is everybody in Washington fandom, the lovers, the haters, the cynicists, all this stuff. They're licking their chops because they see a window to 2-0. But on the backside of that, don't you think Jacksonville and Detroit will see it as well? And then you had a good opportunity possibly to take 1 or 2 away from the Eagles. So you start out at home, 2 out of your first 3, Jacksonville, at Detroit, and then Philadelphia. What do you think about that first 3, those 3 setting up?
Well, I mean, the first thing that came to mind when I saw was the Jags and Doug Peterson was, God, the NFL has the greatest sense of humor. And they swear to you that this has nothing to do with, the relationships, the storylines, which is a complete lie. Clearly, look, here's the coach that gave up, in a sense, on Carson Wentz.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the team that ended him in Indianapolis, the Jags. Nobody cares about Brendan Sheriff coming back to FedEx. I mean, in terms of schedule makers. Now, us as fans say, yeah, but in terms of schedule makers, they don't. And, of course, all my wise-ass Washington fans have said to me, hey, well, it's good that he did it week 1 because that way we'll know Sheriff will be on the field, because of his injury history. But anyway, yeah, I think they got an interesting sense of humor. Then you got Detroit. But, we were talking to the DOC last week about this, and his point was good. It's like, look, I'd almost rather than play Dallas and Philly in the first 2 games or New York or somebody to get their attention. I don't want them going in there feeling like, they got some kind of break here. Because, I don't know necessarily that they did. I mean, I think the Jags had a good roster. I think they were mismanaged by Urban Meyer. I think Doug Peterson's a very good coach. How different the world could have been if he had kept Jalen Hurts in that 2020 game against the Washington football team at that time. Maybe Washington to make the playoffs. Maybe, who knows? Like, the world's just a different place, and he's still at Philadelphia. But anyway, I look at it like it's an opportunity, no doubt. I mean, you should always feel that way. And the way it's laid out with the late bye week, I mean, it really feels like there is more urgency than ever for Ron Rivera to get his team started quickly, which has not been a strength of his teams in the past. As we know, it's better. They're more of a finishing group than a starting group.
Yeah, I mean, was it 2 and 5 like over the last 2 years, starting out? So that's not a good thing. And then you look at this already. I don't know if people realize this, but Washington's only won 1 game against Detroit since 2008, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like, guys, this isn't a game that you have to close your eyes at, because we've seen what Jared Goff can do if he's got the right tools around him. Amon-Ra St. Broad company like that, those guys, Swift as well. They've got makings of a decent offense. Now, if Dan Campbell stops biting kneecaps off and all that good stuff, we might see a pretty good squad out there. A team that beat Arizona last year, and they were world beaters instead of the month of December. But that's when they were declining. But I don't know, man. It gives me concern. And then you got Philadelphia right there, and we know what they are. Nick Sirianni was the new kid on the block, and he was managing real well out there towards the tail end, second half of the season when they got their running game together. And we kind of move on from September, which a lot of folks hoping maybe 2-1, 3-0 there, to
great.
I think the toughest stretch of I believe this is the toughest stretch of the season. At Dallas, hosting the Titans, at the Bears on a short week, Packers, you get them on that mini bye, and then everybody's favorite rivalry now is when Carson Wentz goes back to the house of the white powder and Jim Irsay. Did I say that out loud? Stop that. Yeah. Stop. Yeah. I was thinking that. But October, man, this is a rough little stretch. Yeah. I mean, every year we think Dallas is going to be worse than what they are, but we can't count that out. Tennessee, I made a hot take. I think we may see Malik Willis during that time, just because I feel like the pressure is going to be against Tannehill. Is it the right move? I don't think so. No. Chicago, we don't know what they're going to do with Eberflus. Is Fields actually going to be his starting quarterback going in there? Got Aaron Rodgers. Talk to me about October, man. What are you thinking about that?
Yeah, I mean, I even took it a step further. Like when you were talking about the stretch that worried you, I really said that I started it with Philadelphia. But yeah, if you just kind of keep it to October, I think that is the really crazy stretch where you're going to have a good feel for where this team is, after that'd be after 8 games, obviously, how you did it. So, I mean, it is big. I mean, and they get Philly on a short week the week before. So that should help on the Monday night. We'll see, and they get them on the road and they have to come on the road and all that. So that's interesting. I think the fact that, like you said, you just don't know with like Chicago what you're going to get. Tennessee, I think Tannehill will be, barring an injury, will be playing. I don't think they would have that quick of a hook for him for what he's done the last couple of years. But they're going to be a different team, obviously, without A.J. Brown. And, this team has struggled sometimes against quarterbacks that have some mobility too, as we know. So that worries you a little bit. But yeah, I mean, that's a killer stretch. Dallas, I mean, that's their time of year, October, November. I mean, that's when they are usually at their best. I mean, it's just the December, really January now that the playoffs are pushed back. January has been the problem for the Cowboys. So yeah, I mean, I think they're loaded for bear again, even with moving Cooper on, and moving off from him, over to Cleveland. So yeah, I think it is going to be a big deal. And then, with Wentz, I mean, how's he playing? I mean, like, prior to the schedule being released and after the schedule being released, it's still all about Carson Wentz. I mean, it really is. I mean, either this was a really savvy, smart move by the Commanders to jump out and grab a more talented quarterback than what they've had for many, many years, or, all the intangibles about Carson Wentz, his psyche, his personality are just going to doom you, right? Like, so I really think that hasn't changed. I mean, it really looks to be the exact same thing as we felt prior to this big old schedule rollout.
Right. And you kind of mentioned it too. You mentioned it in the last part. You're talking about getting out to this hot start. There has to be pressure in Ashburn about that, not getting off to a bad 2-5 start and trying to dig yourself out of a hole. And we've seen in recent years, Carson Wentz, pray tell, has struggled with pressure and having that on and having like some form of adversity behind them. Right. So how he deals with that, and this will be, like I said, that Indianapolis game, this is going to be a game that people are going to say like, well, either Chris Ballard was right or he was grossly wrong about it. There's not going to be ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I think he's going to feel that pressure on that game ending out in October. But yeah, it's a straight, like you said, Dallas is right. And you talk about mobile quarterbacks. All these quarterbacks outside of Matt Ryan are mobile for the most part, are pretty mobile quarterbacks and fleet of foot. So we'll see how the defense can handle that, and barring injury, because we know the roster will be different there.
Yes.
And then it's another reunion. We move to November. Bernie Madoff himself, Kirk Cousins, comes back with all his guaranteed money to the FedEx Field, and I can't believe it, but it's so weird to think that he hasn't played in Washington since the end of the 2017 season. And it's been so many years. They've only played him once because Minnesota and Washington have been going in very different directions. And it's only because of the change of schedule, because this is Minnesota's year to come here. Philadelphia, Monday night. Chris Russell even said this too. They play Monday night, short week at Houston. I don't really know if that's a slap in the face or that's just how the cookie crumbles. And then Matt Ryan's former team, Atlanta, comes to Washington to talk about that November schedule. Where do you see, is there some breathability in here? I feel like this could be part of that tough stretch as well too.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you're 7-10 matching years, and we're all guessing at the quarterback, all of them look hard. I mean, I'm like Joe Gibbs guy. I don't want to play anybody. When you look at it, but then there's also opportunity. I mean, look, I've done this enough to know this. I mean, even the last 2 seasons are glaring examples. That game in Pittsburgh, oh my God, the hardest game ever, and that was the game they won, and the weird, Monday night that wasn't supposed to be a Monday night. I mean. There's other games. The Tampa game last year. Oh my God, they're going to get the doors blown off. They're coming off a bye. You're coming off a bye. You got no chance, Tom Brady. Oh my God, those kind of things. So, and then the games you think you can play with teams and you don't. So, I mean, I don't even. There's so many things that could change between now and then, and the fortunes of teams. Always somebody that surprises you and somebody that disappoints with these things. But yeah, I mean, it all looks like. It can be challenging. I'd say this, the good thing is they're not like in a stretch of like 2 or 3 games in a row, which is good. I mean, it seems to be alternating for the most part. There's not any crazy travel, even though we've come to find out with the analytics folks, thanks to them, shout out to Warren Sharp, because I didn't want to have to figure that out, about the rest part of the schedule and how that might have hurt them. But remember, last year, they had a scenario late in the season where they had to play at Vegas after the short week with Seattle here on Monday Night Football. They won both games, obviously. But then the season changed because then they had COVID outbreak. So, I mean, who knows, right? Like, who knows what would have happened if that had not happened. And I always say the J.D. McKissick injury was the most devastating thing that happened to them last year when you look at the way they were playing at that time and the way, Taylor needed J.D. to kind of be the fixer on third down. But anyway, yeah, I mean, look, it could be murderer's row. It could be the end of it. And I've said this over and over too on radio, so I'm not saying something salacious here. And I like the fact that Ron Rivera is kind of building up this as being a very important year 3 kind of thing. But I don't want people to be under the misconception that if it's not a big year and it's 7-10 or whatever, 8-9, that like suddenly there's going to be a big bloodletting here. I just don't see it, because I think the place, this isn't a team that could do that and then expect to go out and have pick of the litter opportunities with the next person. You know what I mean? And then plus it's the way the structure's set up here. It's very Ron-centric. So I think, there's probably a really good chance that he got a 5-year deal. He's going to be here 5 years, right? Bare minimum, right? I mean, that's the way it is. Unless, something happens between now and then, he changes his mind. But I don't feel like some of our fans are building up this like, oh my God, Ron's going to get fired if he doesn't have a good year because he said it. No, not really. No.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
I mean, just get used to it, and that's okay. I mean, it is okay for him to build. You stuck around Jay Gruden for 6 years, for goodness sakes. I mean, you're gonna like try to run Rivera in 3? I mean, give me a break. I mean, it's just stupid. But anyway, and I'm one of these people that actually likes the roster, right? I think the roster's okay. I don't think it's terrible, but there is obviously some deficiencies still, and there's still a huge question mark. Quarterback,
I think you're 110% right, because I unless there's like some awful like. I'm thinking like 4-13 or 3 like then Ron will get fired. If there's 7-10, still 8-9, he's gonna be here. I've never like kind of deviated from that. Now will there be mass riots and everything like that? Probably. So we're gonna have our people gonna be like, our boy Bones and Paulie and all of them. They're gonna be like, man, hell with the W instead of hell to the W and stuff. So but you got practice patience, something we haven't had around here. And like you said, Jay was here for 5 years. He only got cut because he had an 0-5 start. So
started year 6.
Yeah, so there you go in that one, guys. So y'all heard it from the man right there. Move into December, and I thought December was I don't think I've ever seen a bye this late, and then it's sandwiched in between the Giants, at the Giants bye, then the Giants at the Shanahans, then Deshaun Watson possibly be here, and then wrapping up against the Dallas Cowboys, which people say, and I listened to you this morning. You say, maybe Dallas won't have anything to play for, but it always seems like when Dallas comes to Washington at the last game of the season, there's always something on the line.
Right.
There always has been, and I don't think that'll deviate this year. Whether it's for Dallas, whether it's for us, I don't know, but I don't think, and I kind of like the kind of the deviation there, and the travel isn't that bad. You go to San Francisco on Christmas Eve, but that's a Saturday. So, you've got an extra day to prepare for the Browns, but the Browns probably have an extra day to prepare for you too, because the whole league is going to play on Saturday.
Yeah.
But as far as this kind of go, and I hated last year's gauntlet schedule. I just thought that was too much going down stretch, but that's just how I think that's the way the NFL kind of got you, because nobody played 5 consecutive division games down the stretch, but Washington found a way to, and 3 of them were on the road.
Right.
And I don't know. December. I actually this. What are your thoughts on December into January?
Well, I'm with you. I mean, it was almost like somebody lost interest or forgot they were still doing the Washington schedule. They made it. Oh crap! They need a bye week, and they need to play the Giants twice. Why don't we just suck them all into a 3-week period? We'll put the Giants on one side and the Giants the other, and put that bye week there. It was almost like they had forgotten, like they had to do it. It was really weird. And again, with the mini buys, they like to call it with Chicago in week 6, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it balances out. I don't know. I mean, I just think like this is the year. I mean, they got a new trainer in, thank goodness. I mean, I think that was something that was kind of underplayed last year. They lost their trainer right before that Raiders game. And, here's the guy who kept them COVID free during the height of COVID somehow, outside of 1 or 2 guys who were on the IR. And I think, that was not something that a lot of folks dwelled on in the moment or at the time. And, they couldn't really say a whole lot about it because to this day, the man has not been arrested or charged. Right. He's under arrest. It's the weirdest thing ever that this hasn't been resolved yet. But anyway, so I think this is where you're training. I've talked about the preseason schedule that we don't know dates on, but I find it interesting and maybe important, as the coach likes to say, that they have Carolina in it. They have obviously Baltimore at the end and Kansas City in the middle. All people that he's got very strong ties to, right? Relationships with Andy Reid and Harbaugh, and obviously with the Panthers. So there's an opportunity to co-practice, right, with one of those 3 teams. Maybe it's Kansas City because in the middle, maybe go out to Kansas City early, go to their facility if they can help you, keep you there, what have you, and practice against the Chiefs for a few days. Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for our DBs have to match up against Pat Mahomes every day for a couple days, right?
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, I look at that as an opportunity, or Baltimore, even because of proximity. They have a great facility up there. You can certainly go up there and practice with them. So hopefully that'll happen. And, there's been this weird thing with Richmond in the past where Richmond had their contract. Teams had to go there, which was not an easy, travel situation, although they did get 3 teams in there over that period of time. Obviously, the Patriots, Jets, and the Texans, when we had that brawl. So I hope to think that'll be on the schedule. The way they handle preseason, I want to see Carson Wentz put the ball in the air. Tom Brady puts the ball in the air in the preseason. Pat Mahomes puts the ball in the air in the preseason. Alex Smith talked about how he got so much work back in the day in the preseason when he was with Andy Reid. And then when he got here, they did. I never understood that. I never thought that was a good thing. I understand there's different ways to do it. Like, look, Harbaugh got 2 running backs hurt last year with his approach. So I can see why teams are kind of like, how do you do this? How do you do this? But, once you get out there, you got to get something out of it. You just can't, patty cake around. It's not a sport to do that. So I hope they get themselves prepared properly this year to be able to withstand this long stretch, right, into the bye. And hopefully you've got some good people in that practice squad, that can come up when you need them to and be ready to, because it's going to happen. I mean, you're going to lose people. There's no question. Mm-hmm. Just hope we don't have this devastating people, Yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, there's no doubt it's tough. I mean, in the Dallas game, as you said, could mean something maybe. And last week, for Washington's sake, I hope it does mean something for them. I mean, because if it doesn't, then that means they're probably way out of it. And, Dallas is running away with the division, at that point.
And you gave a lot of great information there. So I'll ask you this too. Because we saw the unpreparedness. I think Jay was like 1-4, 1-5 in week 1. Ron's 1-1 right now. So right now, give me a floor ceiling estimate as far as win goes for this team going in 2022.
I don't think they're bad enough to bottom out. You know what I mean? I don't see the double. Well, I mean, it could be double digits. You could be 7-10 again. I mean, I don't see much. I don't see them being like 6-11, 5-12. I hate these 17 numbers, by the way. It's harder. Like I used to be able to roll them off the tongue, 10-6, 11-5,
mathematics
5-11, 5-11, not very good. Like now you can't even say 5-11, not very good anymore. Nobody will understand the joke because it's 5-12. It's so stupid. But anyway, so I think that would be. I think double digit wins. Could they get to 11? Sure, everything breaks right, sure they could, sure, but I don't know if everything's going to break right. I like the idea of the two-headed monster running back with McKissick as your third down back. I think they could help AG a lot. I think that's not a bad thing. I really do. I like all the extra weapons, although I didn't feel like they had to take a receiver in round one. I like the kid they got. So, I mean, that's just me. I like some of the things they have. I still worry about the back end. In the secondary, I still think if they could score James Bradbury, that would be helpful. Here, wherever he decides to go, it would be nice. Corners still concern me. Safety position seems like they have a lot of flexibility.
Right.
Let's make it happen. That's on Jack Del Rio now to do that. So I think that's interesting. So, yeah, I mean, I think there is a chance for them to take a significant step forward. There's also a chance they might just be right there again.
Yeah, and so basically, to your point is stop hiding the money, y'all. Pay these people. Go out there, if you got to go get a shiny new toy that's out on the road, like James Bradbury, who's worked in the system. He's worked with Richard Rodgers out there in the secondary, right? So bring these cats in here. Bring that cat in here, no pun intended, and see what you can do with them. But I think, I was kind of reading into what Jack Del Rio said too about how there was a disappointment in the secondary, and I'm like, well, yeah, no duh. I mean, they were getting ramrodded. Everything. It was like it was 7-Eleven. They were open all day long.
And it didn't improve. No, it didn't improve until that Denver game. Prior to the bye week, right? And then after the bye week was a lot better. And then obviously, look, when the whole COVID outbreak, and then it was just like, once Collins went down, it was over, right? It was mercy at that point. But yeah, I mean, they got to be better for the jump. Obviously, the pass rush would help them be better. I like Phil Mathis. I think he can be a help for them. He's a rotational guy that's an adult who can play right away. I was encouraged to see John Allen and Deron Payne at the hockey game together. Granted, sitting a row apart, but they were still together. So that was cool. That was cool. So yeah, I mean, again, all this stuff's off season. Until you watch them in camp. Next week, there's an opportunity to see them in the OTAs. Hopefully, for my schedule to work out, so I can get out there because I like this. I want to see Carson Wentz, right? Yeah. Who's his favorite guy? I think we'll get an idea pretty early who he feels some comfort level with. You saw that with Fitzpatrick and Terry last year. It was pretty obvious, and unfortunately Fitzpatrick didn't make it out of the first half. So
he was scared. This is what gets me about this. And I said this yesterday too. People were trying to convince me that this man could have played 17 games last year. He didn't even play 17 minutes. And that's just, I'm like, come on now, guys. But to your point, man. Hey, and if you do go to OTAs, make sure you save it for May 26th. That's when I'll be up there as part of the season ticket holders. I'll be up there for OTA. So I'll see you.
I'm hit them all. It's a schedule dependent kind of thing. And
you're the most busiest man in radio right now.
Right. I'm trying to be busy on radio, and that pays bills. Watching practice doesn't make me any money, but it is fun. I've been suckered by those OTAs too many times. I go out there and I'm like, all right, it's great. Whatever. Yeah. People are like, why are you so cynical, Scott? I'm like, I don't know. Experience. I mean,
you've been here too long.
I've seen a lot of fake OTAs that got you excited, but no, it's important. And I'll say this: look, as much as and our fans have really kind of they've soured in some ways on I think this group of coaches and what have you. But the work that's being put in is a million times different. In terms of the tempo of it, the serious nature of it. I mean, they do put in the work. Now, the execution on Sunday, the maybe the personnel decisions that were made from the beginning can be questioned. I think last year we can go back and say, look, you guys are the coaches. Tell Landon Collins if he wants to play, here's how it's going to happen, or he doesn't. I mean, it wasn't that to me is not a debatable back and forth at some point. If you know that this is going to be a problem. You knew it early, right? They could see that early. You got to make a move there, and I did thought it was interesting about what Del Rio said, because really the secondary was not the folks that were missing the OTAs. It was the D line, obviously the two D ends.
I was making money, baby.
Right. Chase and Montez were the guys that were the ones that were the obvious absences. I think he was talking about because Collins was rehabbing early and he couldn't be on the field. So I don't know. I thought that was interesting. I think Ben Standing has an update on that today on the Athletic DC, but it doesn't really, whatever. I mean, I don't know. It's part of the offseason talk. Del Rio, he's not afraid, man. He'll just say some stuff from the hip sometimes. And sometimes it really nails it, and other times you're like, I don't know about that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You ain't lying there. But I thought, to that point when they won, I can't remember who they beat, and Landon was like, yeah, we won, but I'm not happy in my position. I'm like,
Yeah,
I was like, I said, what's the point of saying that, man? Like,
Yeah.
just move on. Like, if it's a loss, I can understand a little bit more, but y'all winning games.
Right.
And he's still playing you out there. I mean, and to that point, last question I ask you, will he be back?
No, I don't think so. I think ship sailed. I think they've got options now that they're comfortable with, younger, faster. I think he blew it. To be honest with you, I think he could have come back. I think there was a time maybe they would, if he'd have taken the pay cut, he would have been here still. Not to say they wouldn't have drafted, but now I feel like that's over. I mean, that's just my feeling. I just don't see where he fits in now without hurting one of these young guys that you feel confident in. And then, again, he has to play a certain way. I mean, it's not like we're talking about positional flexibility with these other guys. You don't have that with him. There's really only one place that he can really play now. And as you've noticed, doesn't seem like there's this big market for him right now either. And wherever he goes, they're probably going to look at the Washington tape. Go, oh, I like what you did in that stretch for Washington, playing towards the line of scrimmage, not, covering people. So I don't know.
Inflation.
Maybe I'm wrong. And look, there's a lot of players that like him on that team, and there's nothing wrong with. I think the guy, again, hard, still young, which is sad, but the injury certainly set him back 2 years ago, and then this year or last year rather got hurt late, and then the money becomes a factor, and that's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes out, how it unfolds. The injury is part of it, of course, but OTA's coming up. Then they've got the mandatory mini camp next month. And then right there before we know it, we'll be back training camp at the end of July. Where they'll be, who knows? But
I'd bet Ashburn at this point.
Oh, dear God. The traffic.
Yeah, I think Richmond's off the table, man. I mean, look, that has not been that was never a good marriage for either party. Let's be real.
That's true. Yeah.
Outside of the few days where they had the joint practices, crowds weren't all that good. It's a pain in the rear end to move everybody down there and all that stuff. And I'm a big Richmond. I like the city a lot. I like the restaurant options down there a little bit. The access was fine, but yeah, I think it's Ashburn for sure this year. It seems like. I think last year was the going away gift for Richmond. Those bogus non-padded practices.
Right.
Nobody should have to watch those.
And I had a heat stroke out there, so that was fun. That was my first year out there. I was like, damn, I'm never coming back out here.
You have the bubble here, and that's the thing. You have the bubble in Ashburn. You don't have that there, so you don't lose practice days. You lose field time. Which is great.
Well, we'll position flex it already and get ready for July. But Jax, I appreciate you, man. I know you got more jobs than you and Pete Medhurst are probably got more jobs than anybody. When are you going to start calling horse races? That's what I need to know.
Boy, I tell you what, nobody wants to hear that if I did, but because I'd say some stuff that would not go over well in the horse racing establishment. But anyway, no, thank you. And me and Pete worked together a long time ago, so I appreciate that. He was a hardworking dude. So
yes, indeed.
Hey, man, look, in this day and age, you got to have a million jobs.
Yeah, you do. You got more jobs in the Headleys from In Living Color. Hey,
that's
Mom.
Right.
But anyway, Scott, I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
Scott Jackson, you can hear him almost anywhere. Sirius XM, you can hear him on Team 980, Odyssey app. You might even hear him in your dreams sometimes. But Sanchez 405. Talk to y'all next time. Remember, keep that same damn energy. We outlast the bastards together. Love, peace, and hell. Till the next time, we are out.